All right, can you guys hear me? Cool. I'm using my phone for some notes. I'm going to try to do a arc situation. We'll see how it goes. Um, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. I don't believe there's a person who embodies that more than Garrison Carr. I had the pleasure, frictional pleasure, of living with Garrison as a freshman when he came onto campus. I was a more My nickname was Sloppy right, in college. That was my nickname. It was deserved. It was fair. It's still fair. I was a more of a typical 17, 18-year-old, however old I was at the time. You look at my room, it was generally a mess. Garrison came in, and this guy, I mean, it was as if, remember Marie Kondo, sparks joy? That whole thing that happened a few years ago with keeping your room really tidy? It was as if Garrison found that in 2005, and he was already sparking joy in our dorm room on his side of the room, and you look over to my room, and it's just chaos. And that one thing, him coming home, keeping his room tidy, his bed was made when he went to class in the morning. His stuff was lined up. He had his day planned. He went to bed early, right? I mean, he wasn't drinking. He was going to class every class. He was looking at his grades. He was just a person who was about his business in a professional manner since the day he showed up on campus. And the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. When you think about Garrison, the person, and you see the way he operated as a freshman on campus, sophomore, when you think about his career coming out, having immediate success in the professional sales world, he's been at Amazon selling AWS for probably a decade now, at top every year. No one's surprised, right? Because that's what he does. That's who he is. That's how he shows up every single day. And here comes the arc. When you think about Garrison, the person, and what he does and how he operates every single day, to see who he was on the basketball court, far and away, obviously not even close, like hilariously outside of the world, the best shooter I've ever seen in my entire life. Stunning. And when you saw the way he was as a person, you knew that, of course, he was the best shooter we've ever seen because he did it the same way every single time, and it was perfect. I talked to Coach Jones, our coach, who was a head coach when we were here a couple days ago, to ask what he wanted to articulate about Garrison. And he just said, I never saw Garrison take a bad shot. And maybe there were shots. Well, let's be clear. If Garrison took a shot and we were on offense, it was a good shot for us. But what I mean is, I never saw Garrison take a shot that wasn't taken, and I was like, that was a good shot for us because it was perfect every single time. His arm was up, his elbow was in, his left arm was here, his right arm was here, and it was a good shot. And again, I want to make sure I do a little bit of justice here. I took some notes as we transition from Garrison the person to Garrison the basketball player, which is sort of a natural transition of who he was as a person. I think one thing you ask yourself is like, how does that, when you think about great athletes and great competitors, it's how they show up in big games. What do they do when it matters the most, when you need them? And I think I'll just pick out 4 games. 2008, 2009, our conference championship games and our NCAA tournament games. Conference championship game, 2008, Garrison, 3 of 7 from three-point range, 43%, 17 points. NCAA tournament game against Tennessee, 6 of 15 from 3, that's 40% on the dot. And 40% is sort of the bar of what a great shooter is in basketball. If you're above that, you're pretty much elite at volume. 6 of 15, 26 points against Tennessee. 15 versus 2 game. We almost won that game. Probably should have won. 2009 conference championship game. 6 of 8 from 3. 75%, 24 points. NCAA tournament game against Villanova, number 2, went to the Final Four that year. 22 points, 6 of 14 from 3, 43%. The guy was, when it mattered the most, the guy elevated his game across the board. And I know that the game has changed since 2008, 2009. There's a lot more three-pointers taken now. Give you a bar of what we're talking about here. I know percentages, everyone's not really up to date on that. In 2007, 2008, Garrison was 5th in the country in three-pointers made per game at 4.1. The guy who was number 2 in the country in three-pointers made that year, his name was Steph Curry. Not one person ahead of Garrison, three-pointers made per game. The winner was 0.7 shots made per game above him. Not one person above him at a higher percentage. Garrison was 45% from 3, shooting at volume before people did that. So you talk about a game changer, someone was ahead of the game. I mean, that was him. The guy was, Every time he shot, the bench stood up and did this because we felt like it was going in, and frankly, half the time it was, right? We were basically right most of the time. I quickly learned that the best thing I could do on offense to help our team win was make sure Garrison was open. So it was a lot of screen setting for me, which I was always thrilled to do and try to clean up whenever he happened to miss. And I think when you translate from the person of Garrison, who the way you do one thing is the way you do everything, to the player of Garrison, who the way you do one thing is the way you do everything, which is shoot the ball at a high percentage, show up every day ready to play, do the right things before the game. The guy as a leader, right? Are you a great player? Sure, but are you a leader? I would say Garrison was a bar raiser, right? He held us as teammates to the same standard that he held himself to, and that was a really high standard. And he wasn't per se a vocal leader in the way of everyone get in the huddle, we need to do this, we need to get it together. It was more of a like, if you heard someone in the locker room like, man, I should be playing, Garrison would be like, you're not good. Like, you don't do the work. Are you in the gym? Are you shooting? Like, he's not good. He's not serious. And you just kind of be like, he's probably right. I'm probably not doing enough to deserve shooting more than Garrison Carr today. And nobody was. So again, it was an incredible honor for me to play with Garrison, to live with Garrison, to get to know him, to continue to know him, to see what he's done with his life. No one's surprised. It's exactly what we all expected. I think if you had a who would be successful, Garrison would be. I mean, he would be the most obvious decision on the team. I will say one thing, though. As much as Garrison was great when he was playing and winning, boy, he was not super awesome when he was not playing. I think it's his family. I think the quote was, we'd ask, Garrison, man, like, why didn't you, and by the way, keep in mind, this guy came on the scene, didn't really play much first 2 years. Junior year came in, I just checked his stats. First game he played, I think he was 5 of 10 from three the first game of the season, 50%. It continued from there. And we asked him, like, hey, man, why didn't you even play your first 2 years? Coach didn't want to win. Coach didn't want to win. And, like, empirical data, you're like, boy, it's hard to argue he shouldn't have been playing. Like, he's really good. But anyway, it's an honor for me to introduce Garrison. I'm so lucky to know him. Proud of the man he is. Proud that someone I get to be around. He's definitely raised my bar for what I expect from myself. I certainly don't meet his standards, but that's fine. And guys, thank you, Garrison. Come up and say what you got to say, man. Just me or him? Do you want me to be close to him or okay? It's like it's both ours. You just hold it.
Will you hold up? Thanks, Nichols. I appreciate you for those kind words. I called Nichols literally like 48 hours ago to ask him to introduce me because Coach Eddie Jackson isn't able to make it tonight. And for you to come up with something so eloquent and beautiful about me, it's impressive. So you meet my high bar. Thank you. So I'd like to just start off by saying thank you to American University and the AU Athletic Department for deciding to induct me into the Hall of Fame. It's a special honor and privilege to be here tonight, especially with all my family, teammates, coaches, and all of you AU alumni and friends here tonight. I'm excited to be here. It felt great to be at American University today and back in Bender Arena, where I have a lot of great memories. And to get inducted into the Hall of Fame is truly a prestigious honor. I want to say congratulations to Derek, Athena, and Kyle for getting inducted as well tonight. Very, very well deserved. And I've seen a lot of existing AU Hall of Famers around. Congratulations to you as well. You all have a ton of amazing awards and accolades and accomplishments next to your name. So for me to be considered in the same light as you is definitely a true honor, so thank you. Prior to Coach Brennan reaching out to me and letting me know I'd be inducted into the Hall of Fame, the thought of this happening to me had never really crossed my mind. But now that I'm actually here and I've had some time to think about what it took to get here and had some time to reflect on this, it feels good to know that all my hard work and commitment to the game of basketball paid off. It also feels good to know that the individual contributions I was able to provide for the team, as well as the success of the teams that I was on, is still remembered and recognized nearly 14 years after our last game. After more reflection, it's also obvious that this is not just an individual award. This is also an award for everyone that was along with me on the ride, supporting me, contributing, rooting me on. They all helped create this moment, and I'm truly appreciative of all their impact. When I think of how I landed at American University, I was first introduced to American my sophomore year of high school when I got my first recruiting letter. And if I'm being honest with you, at that time, I had never heard of American University before, nor did I have any real excitement at that point in coming to this university. You have to remember, though, I was a Pacific Northwest kid. I lived over 2,000 miles away from Washington, D.C., and I had my eyes set on some West Coast universities. But as time went on, American stayed consistent and committed with the recruitment of me and slowly matured into a very legitimate option for me. I just remember having a handful of schools who were recruiting me, but I also remember there was a handful of schools that were afraid of my size, coming in at a whopping 5'10", 130 pounds back then. And there was also a lot of universities that were just afraid of my style of play with my shoot first, pass second mentality. That's not too normal for a player of my size. But the coaches at American were not afraid of my size, and they were not afraid of my style of play, and they offered me a scholarship. And I obviously selected to come to American, where I had an amazing 4 years as a student athlete and made a bunch of lifelong friends. So with that being said, I want to say thank you to Coach Jones, who's not here right now, as well as all the other coaches who were part of the AU coaching staff who were part of the decision to give me a scholarship. Thank you for believing in me and giving me the opportunity. Since I'm getting inducted tonight, you may think that my entire career at American was, highly celebrated and excellent the whole time, but ironically, that was not the case. As Nichols alluded to, my first 2 years at American University were far from Hall of Fame worthy, as I barely got any playing time. Yeah, I barely got any playing time. The coaches never made any promises or guarantees to me that I'd be playing when I got to American University, but coming in as a freshman, I was my typical confident and self-assured self, and in my mind, I was prepared. I thought I was gonna get to campus, walk onto the team, and earn some significant minutes right away, break records, win championships, all this great stuff from the get. But unfortunately, that's not how things played out. Things did not follow the script I had in mind. I had a few small highlights my freshman and sophomore year, but overall, getting playing time just wasn't in the cards. And as Nichols said, coach just didn't want to win. So basically 2 seasons had passed, and I had done nothing with my college career yet, but I just remember never losing any confidence in myself and continuing to work hard. And I just remember coming to practice every day, and working hard as if I was already a starter, and going home during the summers and working on my game in preparation for my opportunity. And finally, after 2 years, my opportunity came around for me to play, and it was just up to me to prove that I was ready. And I think since I'm getting inducted into the Hall of Fame tonight, it's safe to say that I was ready, and I maximized my time on the court my junior and senior season, and those 2 years, things really turned around for myself personally, as well as the team, as we My junior and senior season ended up being two of the most fulfilling and rewarding times of my life from a basketball standpoint. I know individual success gets a lot of focus and attention, but basketball is not an individual sport. Basketball is a team sport, and nothing can be accomplished without the full team effort. So I want to give a big shout out and a big thank you to all my AU teammates who were along with me on the journey. I wouldn't be up here without you. I specifically want to highlight the 2008 team. I'm most proud of that team. We had a lot of questions coming into that season. Outside of Derek, we had a team full of unproven role players, a handful of junior college transfers, and a couple of freshmen. We were projected to finish second to last in the preseason conference things that year, and we even started that year with a mediocre 8-8 record heading into conference play. So no one expected us to be any good or to have any success. But despite all that, we ended up rising to the challenge, exceeding expectations, and producing a conference championship and going to the NCAA tournament for the first time in school history. And that success we had as a team bonded us together for life. In hindsight, when I think about the 2008 team, it's no coincidence we were good. My memories of the actual games that season are light, but what I do remember is that the team had the right chemistry. We genuinely liked one another on and off the court. We had a healthy swagger about us, and we carried a chip on our shoulders when we were playing. And those were the ingredients that supercharged everything that happened the 2008 and 2009 season. The 2008 and 2009 team will forever hold a special place in my heart. So thank you to all my teammates, all my brothers. It was an honor to grace the basketball court with you. Next, I would like to thank all my relatives, Aunt Connie, Aunt Emily, Cousin Sherelle and your gang, Cousin Xavier and your gang, the car bomb crew, if anyone remembers them during my time here at American. Thank you for coming to all my games during my 4 years, whether I was playing a lot or a little. Your support of the team and your support of me did not go unnoticed. Even though I was 2,000 miles away from my parents and sister, your love and generosity made me feel right at home, and I'm glad we got to spend those 4 years together. I truly appreciate you guys. Finally, I'd like to round things off by giving thanks to the most important people. I want to give a sincere and loving thank you to my wonderful parents, Gary and Sita. I'm so grateful for both of you. None of this would have been possible without you, and I can't imagine better parents. All the credit goes to you for guiding me in the right direction, supporting me, pushing me, and encouraging me to be the best that I can be. Thank you for being the role models that I watched every single day growing up. Dad, so much of my success goes to you. I can't even begin to calculate the number of hours you spent driving me and my teammates around to practices and games. I can't even begin to calculate the number of rebounds you got for me over the years. Thank you for being present for everything and drilling into my head your famous sayings that shaped who I am today. Thank you for all the time, focus, and effort you put in. Thank you for showing me what hard work and commitment looks like and what it can do for your life. Thank you for pushing me and holding me to higher standards than I used to hold myself. Mom, thank you for showing me that no matter how many points you score or how nice your jump shot is, nothing matters more than being a good person. Thank you for showing me that, yes, sports are important, but the world is going to continue, whether you win, lose, or draw. Thank you for showing me to work hard and hold yourself accountable, but also don't beat yourself up too much if things don't work out according to plans. So thank you for being the perfect balance to my sports-obsessed childhood life. So with that being said, thank you again to the AU Athletic Program for hosting this ceremony and putting my name in the Hall of Fame. I hope the future of American University is brighter than the past. And thanks to everyone who's here in attendance supporting the school and everyone who's getting inducted tonight. That's it from me. Thanks.